All right, we are about ready to go up the Johnson side. So this is what everybody calls the IKE gauntlet, if you will. This is actually the Johnson side of the tunnel. So now when it comes to the tunnel, I would say that this side is the hardest towing one, but the drop from Frisco down into Silverthorne, that's a pretty steep drop once you crest that hill. And exhaust brake did excellent. So again, we're not really going to time it. We'll make note of how long it's going to take to get up of it. But the main thing I like to denote is all the power in the world is basically useless if the truck itself is not stable when it comes to towing. And one thing I've noted is that the GM trucks, the towing stability is really good. And the road up here is straight trash. It's beat up. They've repaved a few things, but it gets so much truck traffic that it's just rough. So you want stability. All right, so this is where they always start the clock. We're at 10:44. We're going to watch transmission temps. We're going to watch everything as we go up this hill. Again, compared to the gassers, I think the highest we saw on the gassers was 189 in the LAT with the Allison. This is running 149. The engine temps are just fine. It is 72 degrees Fahrenheit out here. And so we'll just kind of see, because it's early Saturday traffic, so we shouldn't have a lot of stuff kind of slowing us down. But really, at the end of the day, you need good braking, you need good control, because we will come up in this third lane to a truck. I know inevitably, it's inevitable, and we're going to have to slow down, then we're going to have to merge. So it's not necessarily about, can this thing go up in 6 minutes? Everybody, it can go up in probably 3 minutes. This L5P is super powerful, and it's not the most powerful of the big three, but it's got plenty of juice. And we reset the fuel economy over in Leadville, so coming over Fremont Pass up and over, we're running about 12.6 miles a gallon over 30 miles. So when they give you a fuel data number for this run itself, it's not long enough to be even accurate, to be honest with you. So when it comes to the trip meter, and really it's going to need to get out and stretch its legs. So it is at 60 mile per hour, and I would have to slow down. You can see it's at 2100 RPM, and I don't want to use the adaptive cruise because this has curve mitigation on it. So once it sees a curve, and I think it even figures it out with the trailer, because back there it really geared down and with the cruise set. So we're just going to kind of just cruise here, pass as we can. And that U-Haul was in the fast lane speeding up here at the very beginning, but like I said, we're going to try and stay on the side of caution and get in an active lane before we have to slow down. And well, if they like to stay in their lane anyway. So again, voodoo magic, because the Godzilla ran 255 degrees, I think, up this with 14,000. The 11 LML was at 100, I think 189 going up this with 14.5. And this is at 19,000, and it's gonna go up it at whatever speed you want to. You can see our engine temp down there, 149 on the trans. I didn't even limit the gear range selector, and the reason being is because the transmission is smart enough to lock itself out based on the speed demand and everything. So I mean, this thing, I could set the cruise at 80. I mean, it is super stable, especially over some of the rough bumps. We haven't had to do a fast lane change per se, because we got out of that one before the U-Haul was going up it. Quiet as a church mouse in here. Again, fuel economy is going to go down a little bit as we go up these hills, and then we go down. Of course, we're going to save a lot more. So we'll just do a totality from this whole thing. So if you're watching this Eisenhower run in the L5P with 19K, there will be a bunch of videos going over all the passes, and a totality video from Denver to Leadville and back. And we got tons of other content. We're gonna have another little battle in the plains, sees how this does compared to my Gen 1 L5P, the actual Kong and Loki. And really, you can decide, is buying a diesel going to be advantageous for you over a gas, especially based on whatever your tow needs are. So we're just going to keep trucking up this. We're not too far from the top of it, and then we're going to kind of just see how it does going downhill on the other side, because Last year was straight trash. Coming out of the tunnel, the road was super beat up, and that's where a lot of people lose control. And that's where really the GM truck doesn't, it does bounce. It has some rough riding characteristics. When you're on a crappy highway, you can feel the trailer just kind of getting into the thing, but it still feels stable. It's not bouncy, it's not wobbly. So back over here, we're almost to the top, and again, it's not even breathing. 2100 RPMs, 158 on the trans temp. Engine temp is still right there. It's no sweat. We'll probably have to slow down because this truck up here, we got a guy in a Cummins gonna pass us, so we might jump over into the third lane here to get past this CMV, unless he dumps over. And I don't know what gear we're in going up this. It is in tow haul mode, but I gotta be honest with you, it could be in 10th, I have no idea, but it's got plenty of juice. It's locked itself out in whatever gear to keep that RPM range where it needs to be. And yeah, I mean, really stable. Again, going downhill over there is going to be the biggest thing because the road is so rough. And in this circumstance, we got a free road up there, so we can get over and let all these yahoos pass us now. I like to stay in the middle lane going up this, always have, as a trucker and everything, especially if I can maintain the actual speed limit. It's just safer than jockeying back and forth. This far right lane is for the slow moving vehicles, but we're not moving slow. And the LAT did just fine going up it. And so did the Godzilla. So did the 11 LML. So I mean, there's just kind of a broad spectrum of trucks we've taken over this, and I'll link those videos down below. So we'll see you here at the top in just a second. Alright guys, so we're going to stop it up here at the lights. I think it said 742 on the thing when we hit it. It never didn't go 60 miles an hour going up this. 165 on the trans temp. Heat is a killer, and GM does it best, and I don't care what anybody says, this is an Allison transmission. Allison branded, if you will, but GM probably designed it with Allison. We can talk about that until we're blue in the face. Great engine temps. You can see the fuel economy went from, what was it, 11.5 to 9.2 to be expected. And I usually cut it off right at this light. So you're talking, if it was 42, 10 minutes to climb up it, we could have came up with this thing at 90 and got here in 4 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. We're gonna get through the tunnel. We're gonna show you how this thing does its engine braking going down. And that'll clear up the Johnson side of the Eisenhower. All right, so we popped out of the tunnel. And again, guys, I'm not gonna bore you with going down this whole thing. We're just gonna go down here. When you leave the Johnson side of the tunnel, you got about 44 miles of downhill grade, so you just got to be ready for that. And this is usually where the road's straight garbage trash. So if you're going to be hauling through Colorado, keep that in mind, that this road is rough and you can lose control. So just be prepared for that. I don't know if they fixed it, but knowing Colorado, most likely not. But you got, see the sign right there, 5 and 6% grades next 12 miles. And all of the manufacturers, their exhaust brakes do their work differently, if you will. So I still think the Cummins is the best. But, you know, we'll see. Yeah, so you can see right here, this is one of the little bouncy abutments we got here. So the way the L5P works when it comes to your exhaust brake is you're going to have to put a little bit of input into it, either with doing your gear selector. I'll do a video later on how to do get the most out of the exhaust brake on the L5P, but just a little bit of input, and this thing gears down. And if you can see the heads up, if you can see down here, I mean it's slowing us down to like 50 miles an hour. I'm gonna have to push the throttle. So I mean, it took less than 8 seconds of just light brake pressure for it to gear down, and then it stayed there. If you want to lock out the transmission, pull it down and low and limit the last 2 gears, you can. But I mean, this thing is night and day difference compared to my Gen 1. So we'll see at the bottom, and I'll let you know how it did going down, how many brake applications we had. All right, so we're technically at the bottom of Silver Plume, if you will, and from the actual hill, we did do one quick pull over to grab some waters and stuff. After that, 0 brake applications, because basically all I did was pull out, get it up to speed of about 55, 60 miles an hour, let off the throttle, and it basically locked the transmission out. 151 degrees, our MPGs is back up to 12, of course, because we're going down and coasting, engine temps, and everything. Now again, I've done a lot of research. We're going to talk in depth later about what makes the Gen 2 L5P way different than the Gen 1. But this exhaust brake is actually pretty damn good from where it was. It was very reminiscent of my 11 LML, my dad's 11 LML. Oh, mine was a 13. Take that away. My dad's an 11. And it did exceptional. 0 brake inputs. It literally just, we could have sped up and then let off the brake and everything. So we don't even need to check brake temps on this because it did excellent. Compared to a Gaster without the exhaust brake, obviously, you're going to have a few more brake inputs, but again, Kong did really good coming down the hill with its engine braking, if you will. So, yeah, there is Eisenhower. We'll wrap up our week-long trip up to Leadville, Colorado, coming down, going over all of our fuel economy, how basically it did. We'll get my passenger's input, which is the missus, and we're just going to enjoy the ride in this thing all the way back, but it did excellent. I'm light years happier over the Gen 1. All right, guys, so we're going to catch you in a minute, and if you don't come back to watch that whole video, we're going to catch you on the next one.